Looking around the room, almost none of you are using more than about 20 to 30% of your body weight. So we're going to be able to turn that up threefold here in the next 45 minutes by just adding a few pieces. And at first it's going to feel a little awkward if you're not used to holding this way, but if you stick with it, you'll feel just as comfortable this way as you do right now, okay? And you'll be a lot heavier. So let's work. Can I use you, Matt? First thing, let's just talk about hand position real quick. With my top arm, I generally want my tricep up against Matt's neck, right? And my hand is going to go palm towards me. This goes back to what Glyn was talking about, and we'll talk about it more as we go. But when I'm retracting my arm, I want to go palm up, and when I'm extending it, I go thumb down. So this is going to be here like this, and it's always like a gentle hug this way, connecting myself to his shoulder. That's going to be very important as we go, but it also just makes it very hard for him, if not impossible, to push me towards his legs. When your arm's up here like this, they can just start shoving you down this way and creating space. So this is here, and as he moves, I want to feel that connection to my triceps, so if his head starts to move towards my body, naturally that should follow. Okay, I'm not going to ever let him get space. With my right arm, I want to avoid grabbing. I don't like anything that's gi dependent. I want everything you do to translate well for MMA, gi or no gi or a fight. But also it just creates more space, right? What I want is surface area. So it should be as much of my inner arm up against his hip as possible. And just like with the shoulder, I'm kind of here and I'm hugging it like this and staying tight, okay? My sternum, for now, is just going to go right over his sternum, which is generally where I'm going to land when I pass. So this is my hand position. As he moves a little bit, my hands need to stay in that spot. Okay, I'm never going to give him space. And you'll see I'm not grabbing with my right hand. It's just underneath, right? Just a gentle hug like this. So that's my positioning. Now let's talk about weight, okay? When I'm like this, Matt's not really carrying any of my weight because most of my weight is on my knees. And this is how most of you are holding, okay? So the first rule I'm going to give you, and it's real simple, is I don't want your knees or your butt to touch the mat, okay? When we're holding and I'm keeping all my weight on mat, my knees are going to be off the mat. My legs are going to be slightly bent, okay? It's going to look actually a lot like the posture Matt worked inside closed guard today. So first thing is, you can kind of feel what my weight feels like here, Matt. And then I'm going to relax. And when I relax, I get just a bit heavier and I get more surface area, right? And everybody real quick, stand up. I've done this before, but this is going to become very important as we go. One person put their hands out like this, and the other person get behind them like they're going to grab them with a body lock. Okay? Grab them, lift them up, walk them forward a foot, set them down. Good. Switch, other person goes behind. Lift them up. Good. Switch. Get behind your partner and go to lift, but don't lift them yet. Don't lift them yet. And now I want you to relax every muscle in your body. Everything. Relax. Everything. Legs, everything. Completely go gel in front. Now lift them up. Right? Good. Good. Go ahead. When your upper body is tense, you're going to be lighter. Plus you become like a board. Your partner pushes on one part of your body, your whole body moves and lifts up. You want to think of yourself more like a water balloon, right, on top. He pushes in one part, it just kind of melts in there. If he grips around my body, I'm going to relax around his grip. That gives me more surface area, and that immediately makes me heavier. And also, above all else, it's efficient, right? So my goal for jiu-jitsu, for fighting and combat in general, but especially with jiu-jitsu, to be as efficient as possible. And weight, body weight is always efficient. If you're sick, if you're tired, if you're out of shape, you still weigh what you weigh. Right? If you're so gassed you couldn't ride around the block on a bike once because you're so tired right now, you're still heavy. So once you learn to use that body weight, there's nothing in jiu-jitsu that's more efficient than that. Okay? So again, we're here. Sternum to sternum. I don't want to overshoot it. I don't want to undershoot it. This arm's here, palm up. This arm's here. And now, most of my weight is still on the mat, on the ground mat, not on mat. So I want to transfer my weight into him. The first thing I'm going to do is bring my knees off the mat here, like this. So once I bring my knees off the mat, where else is my weight? in my elbows. So this is where the hug comes in. The hug's not so much that I'm trying to squeeze him, because if I squeeze kind of hard, then it starts to become inefficient and I'm using energy. I just want to hug enough that my elbows get off the mat. Even if they're off the mat just this much, now he winds up carrying as much of my weight as possible. So I'll have Matt just hum a single note. Right, and you can hear that last piece. So you'll hear the tone of that change when my knees come off the mat, and then when I make that hug, that last hug, all my body weight is going where I want to put it, which is right now it's in his sternum, and then I'm relaxing around it. So hum that note one more time. That's it. Okay, now the trick is you want to be able to hold that way the whole time, moving around him, doing everything else, but it completely changes what it feels like for him to be underneath me for 5 minutes that way, right? So that's the first part. Then we're going to dial that in. We're going to make it heavier. We're going to concentrate on where we're putting our weight to keep them pinned, but first I want you to get that piece. So watch your hands, sternum, knees off the mat, gentle hug, try the note, do it back and forth. If you have any questions, raise your hand, I'll come help you, and then we'll keep moving.
I get caught inside the triangle now. I don't know if it was because I got a bad back or just because I'm tall or something like that, but I always struggled with that idea of kind of bringing my posture straight up like this to break the triangle. And this does work if I can get up here and, you know, do the stripper shake. I can open that. But I found a lot of the time the guys are controlling the posture a lot better, and I'm kind of broken down like this. So led to look for defenses that will work more from this position. So we're going to do 2, 1 when I'm kind of here like this. So it's not that I'm completely broken down yet. Although you can go with this one a little bit lower, and that's this. You okay? You knew I was going to do that, didn't you? Okay, so with this triangle defense, what I'm going to do is kind of, guys will stack in triangles, right? So they'll stack to defend the triangle, but the problem is no one ever stops his shoulders moving away. So the thing I'll get is I'll stack up on Chris, which is, if you just stay where you are, this is great if I'm here like this, because you see what happened to Chris's neck there, how it's kind of like twisted up at the bottom. It's gonna make it really hard for him to keep his legs closed. But the problem is, as soon as I start doing that and stacking up, if the guy knows what to do, yeah. So what I'm gonna do instead, as I stack, I'm gonna take my fist and I'm gonna put it into the mat. Okay. So now I bring forward. Now he tries to walk his shoulders away. I'm controlling him there. Now from this position, again, just keeping my hips connected, I just drive my hips forward and straighten up. Yeah, I've seen a problem people have had with this when I've been teaching it this week is that they'll tend to connect the hips, but the head will stay down like this. I want to put that pressure on his lock, so I go there. Okay, now my hip stays in, and I'm going to go straight past his guard. You okay? One more thing with this, what I found is, this is just clocky. It's a nightmare with triangles. So what guys will do, or what he did anyway, is as this hand goes down, they'll clear it. So he'll start pushing this arm away. So I get caught in here. What you want to make sure you're doing is really putting the weight into that arm. Okay, so again, I'm just transferring weight from my toes into this, and it's just a tripod frame. And then I come forward and lift my head. So one more time. Now as he tries to move my arm, I'm going to make sure there's a real strong connection to the mat. I'm going to move it going through with my arm. And I'm going to break his legs open, not break his legs, before he gets a chance to do that. As you put your arm there, you're going to get armbarred. And that's like, if you're kind of doing this a bit half-assed, then you're probably going to get armbarred. If you just go to here like this, well, to start with, you can still get triangled, but look, you can still move his hips, go on, and swings that over, and yeah, I'm trapped in my armbar from that position. So it's all about where the hips are again. You've got to get those forwards, right? You see, like, if I go back to that position where Chris was able to do that from, how does his neck look? Yeah, it's all straight, right? Everything's kind of like you'd want it to be on a normal day there. How's his neck look now? Yeah, all bent up and messed up. Armbar me. Come on. That's the difference, right? So you see, I just walk my feet a little bit further forward. So rather than I'm allowing him to get his back nice and straight, get everything, get his house in order and turn his hips, and then make sure he stacks up.
Thumb down, thumb up, or just neutral?
I just got neutral, but Glyn's just showing me thumb down, so I'm gonna start playing with that, and obviously you guys can play with how you want to do that. And it looks like you might be able to bring your forearm across the neck as well with that thumb turned in.
Let's say I have my knees together here, and he sets up the scissor, but doesn't sweep. If I start pulling and retracting here, the challenge Chris has got as he starts trying to sweep me, do the scissor, is he can't turn my upper body in this way. So this is full retraction, digit out, big digit out, right? It's locked here. There's no muscle. This is just skeletally full retraction. Skeletally, I can full extension. It's all skeletal system. It's not muscle, right? There's a bit of muscle to get it going, but once it's locked, it's very hard now for Chris to scissor me, even though I've put my knees together for him. And if I turn my body this way and connect my chin, scissor, there is no scissor. So it's the same with the big toe. My big toe points outwards. So it's almost like if he was sitting back, he managed to sit back and leg lock, and he was going for a leg lock. I've already got my big toe there, right? I've already put in the boot on. So this is full retraction. So I get here. So as I pull, I want full retraction. So I'm either big toe down and knee down, full extension, right? Or I'm big toe out, full retraction. Yeah. Pressure is going up into the air, right? I'm extending my leg. So the pressure goes up into the air, which is why it has no real impact. It's here, because I'm trying to put him in the direction of my knee. Put that hip over that heel. That's why you're struggling. If it feels like you're having to muscle this, it's because you're almost always it's this and not this. This is what I want. If you get this, it's so easy once you get to here. So, as we're playing with this, if he manages to bunch my leg up, because I've not been really disciplined in this, the minute this happens, I go to this. And I shouldn't let that happen. I should get the sweep every time, right? But I now go to this. So, one of the common things I see is, in this fight, he ends up getting his hand here and so on, right? And he starts trying to walk around. And the common mistake everyone makes, or he might grab this leg. I see this is probably the most common. People manage to get a grip of this leg and they start to step. And the common mistake people make, and we've got to think about the weight going into the knee, is he now steps this knee over the top. This is the usual guard passing thing I see happen. And the person gets their leg and they now are not putting really weight into this. They're just trying to keep distance and move away from him. And he starts now putting his chest on me and it all goes horribly wrong. Right? And this happens all the time with heavyweights. Like when you watch people rolling. They roll with a heavyweight, they pull scissor guard, they get a lousy scissor guard with this like this, not like here, which is really giving them the real ability to sweep them. Right? And then what happens is they start to step over. So this is where I need to go every time. And as Chris starts to come chest to chest on me, right, I've got a whole host of basically off of that you can go to, but that is the principal idea. So he grabs this leg, he starts to stuff, he gets stepped over. I maintain this all the time. Okay, more often than not, when people actually go to pass you like this, you'll just sweep them because they really they go for it. Yeah, and the more he goes for it, the more he goes, and you end up with this same sweep. But the key is I'm keeping this underhook effectively with my foot. So I've gone from here. Minute this starts to break down, he steps over this leg, whatever, this knee has to come. Even if he's got hold of my arm and he's really dominating me, or he's got my leg, whatever. And every time he now goes chest to chest, I can put him back in the guard. Yeah? So let's just do now like a little, almost like an isolation round with this. So I want the person to pass, and I want the number one thing I don't want you to do is if they start to pass, I don't want this knee staying down here or here. It comes up. We go to the second position, regardless of what happens to the bottom leg. And I'm going to use this like an underhook. So every time he goes chest to chest on me, chest to chest, Chris, I'm going to keep it here. Chest to chest, pass. It's upwards, because he's giving me pressure this way. I don't want to, when he's giving me pressure this way, and he stepped over this leg, I don't want to be like my leg's here. I've got nothing here, but I have everything here. Yeah, and also if there's strikes or anything like that, I can start to try and connect my knee to his chin. So just structurally everything. Once he gets to here, there's nothing here either by keeping this knee in. It has to be here. And now I kick. Yeah, let's give that a go. Let's isolate. So I'll start the clock like 2 minutes. One side trying to pass, starting the scissor guard. One side trying to pass. Don't stand on this. If you stand, that changes the whole dynamic. Try and pass on your knees. Yeah? Let's go. 2 minutes, one side.
Now, if I combine these three things together, okay, so I've got my bagpipes, okay, so I'm making bagpipe head. Then I do my correct grip, so I've taken away all that space and got a little bit of a squeeze. Okay, so I'll keep his head controlled, it'll take away the space. Now when I get into this position, you should feel that weight then is really being focused onto your lock. Okay, this last part I think is the most important part. Okay, being able to focus your weight into the submission is much more important than any grip variation you're going to take. Okay, so like whether I put my arm through, I'll talk about a few about the other grips afterwards. Okay, there are different variations you can use. You might use them already. So when you see that you get plus sides with every technique and you get downsides. Okay, think of this as your neutral guillotine grip. Okay, and it's fairly standard. From there you're going to lose things and gain things whenever you change. But what most people struggle with is getting their body in the right place to get their body weight involved in the lock. Okay, so if I can add all those together, then it should feel like a very tight lock with kind of less squeezing you have to do before to finish it. Okay, so now I'm going to be here. I'm going to take my same grip, and I want Alex's head in that same place. So I'm trying to pull his head forwards from here, so I keep my weight in my shoulder, and I pull it into that same place. Now, what I'm going to do for this, you'll notice he's got his hand here now, so he's been a good partner in keeping this away. When they start to block with his hand, I'm going to show you how to get rid of this afterwards. Okay, so for now, just while I'm going to do this, I'm now going to keep this here while I do that same technique. Okay, so I'm going to keep my weight central. I put this in, and then by the time I get round, usually before I get all the way over to my shoulder, they want to tap. Okay, but that's where I'm aiming for. If I'm in a competition, when I jump on this, I'm going to jump straight to my shoulder when I go for this. Well, I've got my partner's neck there, and I don't want to, and he's not trying to escape it. I'm going to do it. It's slightly less realistic, so I'll probably go a little bit flat and then rotate to my shoulder. But make sure, even if they tap, loosen up and continue going to here to develop that habit so that you get used to going into that position. The worst thing I can do for my guillotine lock is I sit straight back to put this foot in here, and now he has every option to pull his head out, to jump over my legs because I'm too flat. He can get around this side, he can do a heartbreaker escape on this side. Everything's going to go wrong for me. Okay, and I don't have any real pressure there because as soon as my elbows come away from my body, this is when I need to change my grip. I'd have to change the grip here. So I want to try and make sure I combine my grip, my head control with my body position now. So I'm here, controlling the head, I'm pulling it away from the body so I get a good bite on my hand. I move myself right here, this goes over the top, and then I start to squeeze. Okay, so I'm going to kind of put all those things on like this. So I start my squeeze and my body maneuver to here fairly lightly and one tap. If I get overly attached to what I want, like say, okay, I want to guillotine him. Okay, I need to finish this guillotine now, and I'm overly attached to that concept. He'll become ahead because the game changes whether I want it to or not. And as he goes past and the game's changed, if I'm still attached to that last moment, he's going to escape because he's earlier into the next game. Okay, so I need to have we'll call it 50-50 mindset in Jiu-Jitsu. 50%, okay, I want to do this to him. Then 50% of me is keeping that other half in check and saying the situation's changed. I need to deal with what's going on in reality here. Okay, so I might start off a match and be like, okay, well, I want to triangle this guy. But, you know, before I get to that, we've still got a grip fight, we've still got to do everything else that's going on. So, you know, I have my game plan, but I've also got the idea that this situation is constantly changing, I need to adapt to it, okay? So the second that he starts to go around, that other half needs to kick in and say, okay, this situation's changed, I can't be doing what I'm doing now, okay? But the end goal, if you like, might be the same. Now, this is very important, I'm gonna do this with Alex first. I'm here, he's got me too flat, and he's managed to walk around, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is, as he's pushing my legs away, I don't want to fight against that, trying to hook my legs over. I'm going to push him into the floor and bridge. Okay, it's a nice simple bridge. And this is very important, I'm going to bridge into the shoulder that's on the same side as him. Okay, so as he's on that same side, he goes around here, he's going to walk around to this other side. And the reason why I need to bridge here is because I need to switch the weight over to my other shoulder so that I can turn it into a sprawl as he goes round, okay? Now if I get left here and I'm still squeezing him and I'm flat on the ground, okay, and I don't bridge weight into this shoulder, what's going to happen is as he runs around, I'm going to get pinned and my shoulders both get pinned on the floor, okay? So I need to raise this side up. As I feel his weight transfer, I just go to the other side and then a very unathletic looking motion just as I turn over and I'll end up here, okay? It's a subtle but very important difference. So I go to here, I've been too flat, I bridge towards him. As he goes round, I bridge onto my other shoulder, and now I'm back in my front headlock. And then I can go here and make sure I do it better this time and get that leg over. Okay, so the first time I made a mistake, allowed him to get me too flat, my leg wasn't over so he could roll. Okay, so the next time I want to try and improve on that. Okay, so he goes round, okay, I jump in, my legs don't come over, he's aware of what's going on, he does a good job. So I don't fight against him, I go with his pressure, I bridge onto this shoulder. As I feel his weight walk around, my weight transfers to the other shoulder, and then I'm back into my sprawl, and I keep weight there. Okay, so one more time. We go here, I go for this, he blocks, legs go down, bridge one shoulder, two shoulders, and I'm over, and I'm back in the same position. I'm ready to go for my guillotine. Real good? Let's go 2 for 2.
So all we're going to look at is a little bit takedown defense and like guys sprawling and getting the hips all the way away. So if Adam shoots, shoot head this side just for now. Go ahead this side. The sprawling really spreads our base and we're not that mobile, okay? So fast you stand like this. Can you move much? So when we sprawl, we're the equivalent of his legs are spread, my legs are spread, and there's pressure on him and I'm blocking him in the direction he wants to go, but I'm not really that mobile and I'm not really that strong from here. My base is here and here. Okay, when I get my hips away. So what we're going to do is when Adam shoots, he's going to shoot head far side, or it doesn't matter, is I just get that lead leg away. Okay, and I'm going to turn my hips. Now here, look, I'm in a position where I can walk away and I can move. So as he shoots, you can go this side if you want. I want to get that leg away. I don't want to be strong. This allows me to move. If I go here and do traditional sprawl, I have to kind of end up connected or we end up in a 50-50 position. So as Adam shoots, I'm just going to pull this leg back and make sure I can move. So I'm doing this movement. And I do this quite comfortably, move up and down and walk off. Okay, so he shoots. This allows me to turn to my front headlock. Okay, it also allows me to stuff his head away, move away. I have control of my body, I can use my hands because I'm not required to touch him or base. So your partner's going to shoot on you, you're just going to pull the leg on the opposite side away, turn towards the head. I have good connection with the floor here, so I can move. I'm able to do a lot of things because I have a lot of control. So we go here, and Adam could disappear, and I should be able to stay standing. If I sprawl and he moves, my base requires him. Okay, so you just want you to go 1 for 1, partner shoots. You also notice that Adam's big if he drives into us. I can resist with the floor. Shoots into us, and I have a bad connection with the floor. If he continues to drive, it's only a matter of time before he gets somewhere. So I want to be strong with my hips. So we're going here, partner shoots, if it's head this side, here, head this side, it's a little bit easier, I just have to turn. Okay? This movement. But look, I can stand like this. So Adam shoots his takedown, so watch the movement of my hips, so when he shoots, and I hit him here, what I do is I just turn back in, I put my weight on his head. Okay? So I'm only turning now for a second, I'm not staying here, I don't want to hang around here, but when Adam's on that double, and I'm strong, I'm going to move back into him. So I'm going to throw my body, and what I've done, because my feet are underneath is I can rotate my hips. If I sprawl, it's very hard for me to rotate. When I'm here, I can rotate. And it's almost like I'm hitting him in the back of my head. Technically illegal, but I want to hit him with my shoulder. Sorry. Okay. So here he shoots, and I'm going to go and put his hands on the mat. Once his hands are on the mat, all I want you to do is you can stay here, pull him a little bit, get comfortable. Feel good. You can move to the back, don't go to your knees. Okay? This is where I'm going to let you do that thing where you just do. If you want to hit the guy at any point, you can hit him, but don't hit him. I want it to come from here, not from, if you hesitate and then hit him, don't throw it. Do not throw it, do not do it. You thought about it, I want you to work on that critical moment where Adam just shoots, I stub his head, and I just do something. I just do, I don't like overthink. So you're gonna go one, he shoots. Think, I hit him with my shoulder, I go front headlock. And that shot there where it's like split second, it's better than me here. Oh, turtle. And I go to throw that, but Adam's already moving himself. I want to be a beat ahead because I want to be in the present. And we just go, okay? Don't hit your partner, don't beat him up, but have that moment where your brain just fires some information, it goes and does, okay? One for one, off you go.
We don't do anything until we get our indicator. So my hip pressure is always pushing in, so hip on hip. Yep, his head pops up, his hip moves away from my hip, that's when I commit in, okay? The leg position and the leg movement is just this, and then drag, okay? The great thing about this is we can do the same with dragging the hip as well, okay? So as well as reacting to the person sitting through, we can get in the same position from here. Everything still floats, but this time I'm being proactive. So this is reactive because I'm reacting to him lifting his head up, him taking his hip away, then going into casualty position. I can be proactive by making it happen. So I push my hip in, he pushes back, drag the hip, still the same thing with the knees. Yep, to here. Okay. Has anyone got any questions about that transfer? I think what a lot of people are trying to do is try to dive back into something. We're just getting into there. Yeah. We can always kind of move our knees away, then start sitting through and getting into our back mount and things like that. But we don't need to. Okay. No questions. Cool. Okay, Jacob, wait a second. So I'll go hip drag. So working it from hip drag this time, again, arms are floating. I'm proactively making this happen. So I'm pushing my hip in, he pushes back. We end up in this position. The key control is this. Okay, so focusing on getting this arm over, it'll help you with the choke and stuff, but if I don't control this shoulder, he's just going to go onto his knees, start turning around and getting out of the position. Okay. So keeping this nice and tight. This hand, if it can, will come over to this position and we start creating a little bit of pressure across the throat. If the hand comes all the way over the opposite hand, this is where I get a really nice severing choke. Okay, but at the moment I'm stuffing my own work. So I attach here, come up, attach, then I start moving away. When I get into this position where I can feel his weight trying to fall to the mat, hand comes out into your severing, ear to ear, and through. So the hand's able to go all the way over. Okay, I lift up a little bit to move my knees away. I can feel his weight trying to fall down to the mat. I switch the hands over and then pull. Okay, so give us a little bit of hand fighting as well, Jacob. Push. It's really important we get our ear close to their ear, because what's going to happen, we're going to pull with our arm and drive forward with our shoulder. Okay, so it's pretty awful, to be honest, because we're squishing the neck in two different directions. So here and then shoulder. If my head stays up, I can try and drive my shoulder in a little bit, but just by sitting up and feeling that weight dropping, then coming down to the ear, everything tightens up a little bit. To there, okay? Try and do it as nice as you can. All right, 1, 2, 3.
The guy's going away, you follow him up. It's important to follow the guy up when he moves away from you. Otherwise, you're just creating space and just lying there, and he's going to start passing around the guard again. So as soon as he's moving away from me, I'm following him. But if I'm trying to move into him, his instinct is probably going to come towards me. He's going to move towards me. So I end up getting put flat on my back, especially if he's driving his knee forward, which sucks, and then I'm going to have to start pushing and framing and shrimping. So it's kind of not good. So we go back again. So what I'm going to do is just hold around his knee really lightly, just guiding it. I'm not like going to make a big grip or anything like this, just guiding the knee. So as I'm trying to come up here, he starts pushing back in to get his base. I'm just going to do this, like so. So I'm trying to take my hips off the floor. I'm thinking about doing a backwards roll. So I'm here, like so. So I've just taken his weight, his center of gravity above my head. And it's a bit like an overhead sweep. So my hips want to rise. I'm not worried about hooks and stuff. Just one leg in the middle will do it. And that just pushes into his hip. If you need to, you can also push on his hips a bit. So I'm pushing him back, kind of elevate him a little bit like this. At the moment I don't need to. Now once I'm here, I'm going to spin. So I like to spin to the outside, so my body comes to the inside. So I go like this. I want to go elbows and then knees. And that'll put me into this position. If I'd spun the other way, I'd end up over here. And then it'd be hard to get on this leg. But right now, his leg's really accessible. I'll grab the knees and then just push my shoulders into his thighs and put him down. There you go again. So I'm trying to get up on my sweep, he pushes back in, roll back, hips off the floor, and then cup the knee and spin to here. I'm on my knees, I've got his knee here, and I'm going to find his other knee and then drive him flat. I can start my pass. One thing I should mention, I mentioned before was spinning to the outside, so saw some people kind of spinning the other way. So the reason for that is if I'm going here, he pushes back, pull him over. Right, it seems like a good thing to spin this way, but I'll end up kind of in this position, which is not too bad. Like I can sort of wrestle from here, but the other leg is far away from me, so go back. Oh, God. So I try and take him down. So I just think outside. Now the other leg is right there. So it's going to be easy to set that up and complete. Yeah, so just bear that in mind. So the other thing, if we're here and I end up getting driven back to my back here, straight away I'm going to start playing something like inside De La Riva. So make my foot really sticky. So it should be a good hook here, shoelaces on his thigh, and I'm going to grab here. So this is kind of when he's not really giving me any pressure at all. He's trying to stand around, maybe he's thinking about passing, he's not really going in any particular direction. So we just do a basic tripod sweep from here. Control this arm here. You can put a spider hook in, like so. You can start to give him pressure, backwards and forwards. But then I'm going to switch, like so. So I go from the bicep to the hip, from the thigh to the knee, like so. So it can be here, quick. Always keep hold of this leg. So if we're kind of in the same position now, if I don't hold his leg, he'll probably get up before me. So if we're here, sticky foot, I've got his ankle, I go into the bicep here. Do the sweep, hold on. It feels weird because it's under your leg, but it's fine. Just do a technical stand up and I can start to pass. Like so. Another. So I end up going to my back, sticky foot, grab his ankle. Go in the bicep a bit, play around with my feet, then switch bicep to hip and thigh to knee at the same time, and push and pull. Hold on to the leg, technical stand up, and we can get into our pass. Yeah, give that a go, guys.
And here, it's going to be a little bit late. I let my arms get split. I let him get his weight high on my body. I didn't re-grip and get a better connection. So now it's a little late to get my arm back. So I have to try and get a step ahead of him where he's going next, right? And so watch something here. Matt's on this side here, and he does. Just go ahead and sit through with a step over armbar. Good. Now pay attention where this foot is. So this foot's either going to be in my armpit, okay, or in my neck. And he needs one of those two spots to complete that armbar. He needs that real estate, right? So since I know that, come back. When I feel like it's too late for me to get this arm back, lift up for a second, Matt, hang on, that's good. But when I feel like it's too late for me to get this arm back, I'm going to defend that real estate immediately. And I'm going to be early on that, okay? And I'm going to defend it by shortening up one side of my body. So I'm just shortening this up, and I'm tucking myself like this. So I'm touching my head, and I'm blocking out my armpit. And I don't care whether he stops halfway and decides to go for a Kimura, or he goes through all the way through for the arm lock. I'm going to do the same thing every time, okay? And watch what happens. So I'm just going to ask Matt not to stop. Just go start cross sides and then go right through that. Go ahead. Right, I'm going to wind up like this. And then here I want to lift my hips up off the mat, and then I'm using my feet to press my back into Matt's leg, right? Try and pull your leg out. Right. So it's heavy. And then I will get on top. Then fight for top. Don't rush it and get put in a triangle, okay? So I'll go one more time, a little bit slower. I'm defending, I'm early here, right? So you don't have to be fast. I'm not fast, I'm slow, right? But you can always get your hand here in this spot to be early. So I block that out. Then I'm going to grab. I'm going to get my neck over the top. I'm not going to let go of the leg until my neck's over the top. Then I get about here and then I press back into his leg so he can't get his leg out and bring it back on and continue the arm lock. And then I start to battle for top. Okay? Back and forth. Go ahead.